I now have the great pleasure to introduce a trio. We keep adding to it, right? We start with two, give you two more, now we're going to do three. Let me tell you a little bit about this group first. This team has traveled all the way from San Diego to be with us today. We are incredibly fortunate to have them all, so thank you very much. We're going to get to learn about their programs, best practices, and some more resources to share. And as mentioned, it's all part of the work. And it is work, isn't it? Sometimes it's tough work, but it's good work, and we know that collaboration really is going to help manage this workload. So coming to the stage in just a moment, we have Kate McDevitt. She works for San Diego Unified as the district's first wellness supervisor, and in 2016 launched their now award-winning wellness initiative to support the health and well-being of more than 90,000 students and 15,000 employees. I think we could learn a thing or two here. Through their Healthy Schools program, San Diego Unified School Site Wellness Coordinators also receive monthly training on wellness programs and resources to assess, plan, and improve wellness offerings for students, staff, and families. Joining her will be Kat Scatterly, a program manager at the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, and I hear some new things happening as well. A 30-year veteran in the field of education and coaching, Kat has supported some of the largest districts in the country, including New York City, Chicago Public Schools. She currently works side by side with education leaders in San Diego, San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and Orange County Departments of Education, just to name a few. And rounding out this incredible trio is Andrea Eaton, the Senior Coordinator, Maintenance Planning Department, and the Employee Wellness Chair at San Diego Unified School District. In her role, she saw a need for awareness of healthy living and wellness for employees and has grown the program to include all of their central offices, employees across the district. They host an all-staff wellness event twice a year. Doesn't that sound great? I can't wait to hear more about this. She was also honored as the Classified Employee of the Year in 2020 with her wellness efforts being a highlight of that award. Please welcome this dynamic trio to the stage. And you've got a mic there, and you've got mics there too. There you are.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to see you all. I thought, could we just take a second to just take a long, slow, deep breath in and let it out? One more. And now I'm just going to ask you, just because I'd really be curious and we would to know who's in the room today. If you work for a school district, could you just stomp your feet for me? Okay, if you work for a community partner organization supporting schools, could you stomp your feet for me? And if you're another kind of vendor, can you just do a little pump of the arms? We've got a few. Thank you. We need all types in the room. It just helps us to sort of know who's here. What we're going to be sharing today, I'm just thinking about what Crystal said, that it can take 10 years to really see change. And this is an 8-year-long story that started back in 2016. And I hope that as you listen today, you really hear that this is kind of the little engine that could. We were just chugging up the hill as best we could. And so incremental change over time really can result in some very powerful change. So I hope we're able to give you all a little bit of inspiration. I'm Kate McDevitt. As mentioned, I'm the District Wellness Supervisor for San Diego Unified. I'm the first person in this role. Unlike in many school districts where wellness resides in food and nutrition services, I actually work in the nursing and wellness department. So that's sort of an interesting, just give you some different ways to think about things. And I'm going to turn it over to the rest of our team to briefly introduce themselves.
Hi everybody, Andrea Eaton, Chair of the Employee Wellness Subcommittee. Kat Satterley with the Alliance for a Healthier Generation.
So in our time together, what we hope we can share with you is how to take that policy and move it into practice. I think we're all in different places on that trajectory. And then think about how to really create a culture where people start, the word wellness starts to bubble up, that people really understand how to move this work together. And then I also think this is very important to demonstrate what's possible with very minimal funding, almost zero funding. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but I know we're a large school district, but this really has been almost entirely the leveraging of existing community resources, what we've done. So I'm going to turn over to Kat.
Okay, great. Well, we'll start off with just a little icebreaker today. I know earlier on we talked about why nutrition is important to us, what it means to us. So I want you to think back, and maybe it was when you first got into this position, or maybe it was something that, inspired you along the way. But what motivates you to do this work? Sort of why are you sitting here today as part of this group? And how did you get here? Not the whole story, but really what intrinsically motivates you. So just turn and talk to a partner and share, and then we'll just do a couple share outs. Ten seconds, 10 seconds. Great. Okay, just wrap up the conversation. I love that everybody seems very enthusiastic about sharing their motivation. Okay, can we get a couple of people to share out? Share out. I can share. Well, they said I had 30 years in the industry, but I started when I was 4, so it makes me 34. Just kidding. I know that my why has changed a lot over the years. When I became a physical education teacher, it's because I went to school for sports medicine, and they said, oh, you can't do the sports medicine program and do athletics. I said, well, I'll just change my major then, because sports were so important to me. But I became a teacher, and that was probably the greatest thing I ever did. But my why has changed a lot over time. Now my passions and my drive are very different. But yeah, let's hear from you. Let's get a volunteer to share out your why. Yes.
When I was in 5th grade. Yeah, when I was in 5th grade, we had just 1 week of nutrition curriculum, and I was so excited and so shocked that our food had value. And I went home and I stood on the high chair in our kitchen, and I just went through our pantry, and I was like, nope, Mom, we're not eating that. We're not eating that. That has hydrogenated oil. She's like, what's hydrogenated oil? But that really guided me into studying nutrition, and I'm just starting out. But yeah, I think that kids should have that first initial kick, and like, what better place to do that than school?
That's wonderful. Someone else, come on.
Come on, you don't want to see me with a mic.
Here you go.
Here's one.
I got one right here.
Fun fact, I was Erin's. She was I was her intern for my first rotation, my dietetic internship. And I walked in there, I was like, you're serving kids what? Like, this is cool. I didn't know, like, chocolate hummus and And then just going through the work, it just makes sense that kids deserve to have great, delicious food and understand their food system. And again, what better place to have that at school? And I feel like our job is to make them excited about what's on their plate and to meet the farmers who grew their food. And then running a federally funded program, we have a big responsibility to use our dollars and bring that back to our local community.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. One more? Can we get one more?
I should share my parents. So my why was to bridge the gap between what California grows versus what K-12 serve in their school system. Is when at Stanford we would have a freshman from all over the globe, and we have the representation to 124 different moms brought over. So we have such a big spread, and they're looking for hot dogs and pizzas and hamburgers and whatnot. And the idea was, well, there's a disconnect. We need to go in a K-12. We need to teach them arugula in a K and teach them wheat bread in a 12, and that would be the process. So that was my why.
Thank you all so much. Kate?
All right, so I'm going to take you on a quick trip down memory lane. This is a little bit of my background and my why. So my mom is a retired teacher. My dad is an orthopedic surgeon. Maybe no wonder I ended up at this public health intersection with education. But I have always been so passionate about educating students and young people about the food system. And really, I entered into public health through nutrition education. I worked in 20 years for educational program management, but in 2011, I really got to start using my passion for food and nutrition and food systems when I went to work for UC San Diego Center for Community Health. It was part of the pediatrics department. My job there was with SNAP Ed funding. We all know about that CalFresh funding. I was working with the 42 school districts in San Diego to help them implement nutrition education, physical activity, and wellness policy. The great thing about that job was it was really about translational research. So I was able to learn from my partners at the state level and the national level and help bring that work into schools in a way that worked for them. What happened when you work with 42 different school districts in about 5 years is that you learn very quickly, this works, this does not work. This works over here, but it does not work over here. That really served me because one of the school districts I worked with was San Diego Unified. And I happened to be on their wellness council to help them build out what had originally just been a one-paragraph wellness policy. Through my work at UCSD on the council, we built out a much more robust wellness policy. And it was by being a part of that council that I was then invited to interview for the first district wellness supervisor position that the district had. And it was, wow, a real uphill battle. When I got there, they said, Kate, welcome. We'd like you to open 7 high school wellness centers. They need to be designed. You need to train staff. You need to get them up and running. Oh, and by the way, could you make sure that all of the schools know how to implement the wellness policy? We'd like you to do a training in 1 month. And we want to make sure that all of the schools are implementing the wellness policy by the end of the year. Okay, well, how do you do that? Thank goodness I had worked with 42 school districts and I had a lot of community partners, and I knew that what it was going to take was to make sure that we had engagement at every school site in the district, that we had the engagement of the departments across the district, and that we were really working to hear from the schools, what do you need and how are we going to help you to do that? And that was really our story. There were state and federal requirements, but there was no money other than my own salary. That was it. It was not easy. I won't say that it was easy, but I hope that you can learn from us, because I do think that what we've done has worked to really build a culture in our school district where now I can't go to a meeting without somebody mentioning wellness. When I first started, nobody mentioned wellness. So we've come a long way. And this was back when I first started the job. Don't I look so bright and cheery then? But it's important work, and it's that work working with the students that I know means a lot to you all, and it means a lot to me.
So I'll use this time to talk about the breadth of San Diego Unified. We are the second largest school district in the state. And as you heard earlier, we have over 90,000 students. We have over 200 sites, but some of those are charter schools, some of those are lease sites. So it really comes down to about 175 schools that we work with. And about 150 of them we have wellness coordinators at, and then there's those stragglers that we're always trying to get on board, right? So we don't have 100%, but we're pretty darn close. So to talk about wellness at all levels, we are a huge district, so we have a lot of levels. We have leadership support at the top with the superintendent. We have a full-time wellness supervisor, which is a permanent position. We have the wellness policy, which drives everything that we do. And then we have a wellness council, which is composed of representatives from a lot of our different departments. So our food services is represented, family engagement, youth advocacy, school police, on down the line. So that really helps us to bring, because we are so large and it's hard to not work in a silo, we really try to bring everyone together to share information and to come up with ideas to implement the policy together. And then down to the school site, where we have site wellness coordinators at every school site. And the Wellness Council does help to support those, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as part of this presentation. Kate alluded to the strong partnerships that we have. That's also part of this level, and they are also part of the Wellness Council. We meet monthly. And then, of course, we'll talk about employee wellness more on Thursday, but just to delve into that a little bit today, we work really closely with our health insurance carriers to implement employee wellness. So here's some summary of kind of the keys to success that we'll talk about more today. So I mentioned executive leadership support. The superintendent really helped to implement this program, part of getting Kate hired. We have the district wellness council that I talked about, the wellness supervisor, the WISC aligned policy. A lot of these things I've kind of talked about when we talked about the levels. A district-wide system that encourages all central offices as well as departments to get involved with wellness in all these different ways that it overlaps, which creates consistency, right, across the board in the structure and allows us to continuously improve. We have the community partners, which we really can't be without. And then, of course, the heroes at the school sites and getting student involved as well. So that's just been a lot of the key components to making our program work.
Okay, so I don't know if you recognize this woman, but my goodness, she really helped us so much when I first started. So this is Cindy Martin. She is now the Deputy Secretary of Education at the national level. Aren't we so glad we have a wellness champion at the national level? But at the time in 2016, she was our superintendent. And she believed so strongly that we needed wellness in our schools. We needed wellness not only for our students, but for our staff. And she would regularly meet with me to help plan and design what we were doing. And her support at the beginning, I think, really was helpful. And if you work for a school district, how many of you have a leader, maybe it's not the superintendent, but a leader at the top who is supportive of your efforts for nutrition? And great, I'm happy to see some hands up. That's really does help things. It's been interesting. So Cindy left to take her new position as Deputy Secretary, and we now have a new superintendent. He is also very committed to our students, to our staff. His areas of focus are love, belonging, and employee well-being, which he really talks about thriving. That's part of his platform. Here he is at our last fall staff wellness event. We have it all of our staff are invited, holding a comfort cub, which is like a weighted teddy bear. We were giving those out to all of our attendees at the event. It was amazing. And then this is my boss here, Susan Barndollar. She's also at that same Staff Wellness Festival where we had an area where you could cuddle puppies, which, believe me when I tell you, people talk about the event where you get to cuddle puppies. Yes. See, this is how things change. We share good ideas, right? So she's the executive director of nursing and wellness. She started right before COVID, so that was a strong, steep learning curve for her too. But she's really helped me to bring finally in year 8 some funding to our program. But it has taken a while. So I only mention that because I know we are school districts of all different sizes, and I just want you to know that what we're doing, you can do too. So speaking about the funding, where we started was that they moved wellness implementation from our Food and Nutrition Services Department to Nursing and Wellness back in 2016. And they created this position that I am now in. It's a 12-month classified administrator position. I do think that it's been very helpful that I am in a supervisory role when you're helping to guide and direct work with school principals. And really, at the beginning, this was sort of the job description. This is where we started, that I would convene the District Wellness Council, that we would meet 10 times a year and have goals to oversee the policies and programs and implementation, and periodically update the wellness policy, as Crystal was just talking to us about, and help to ensure communication of the policy. So this was where we started. But please let me just continue to say, nothing that I have done has been alone. It has all been with many of the folks that are there, and many, many others, hundreds of others of us have done this together. But this was, I think, very critical to our success, was that there was one person designated to lead the work. Now, another area that we're really proud of is our wellness policy. So we do follow the WISC model. So we do have now 10 different components of wellness in our wellness policy. I'm very happy that employee wellness, how many of you have employee wellness in your wellness policy? A few. So I encourage everyone, I think that helps to create buy-in amongst staff to include employee wellness in your wellness policy. And the nice thing that we've done over time is, again, we started with one paragraph and now we've expanded. But for every area of our policy, we have at the leadership level a subcommittee that's part of our district wellness council. So there's a staff wellness subcommittee that Andrea leads. There is a social emotional subcommittee. And those subcommittees bring together departments working in that area and the community partners and the parents. I'm sure you all have parents that call you very regularly with good ideas. They're great people to be on that subcommittee. And they are able to have more focused conversations that we can't have in a council meeting. They're able to really get into more of the details of the work and help create solutions for our schools based on the needs. So this is how our policy aligns to the work at the leadership level. Now, the council as a whole, I'm very, very proud that throughout COVID, we continued to meet every single month. And we did it on Zoom, and the council liked meeting on Zoom so much that we're still meeting on Zoom. But I'm just proud that at a time that was very difficult, all of those, it's usually about 35 to 45 people come to our council meetings. They continue to show up. And on our council, we have 14 different departments represented, 35 different community partners, some of the parent groups like the Council of PTAs, and some of our student leaders that work in health and wellness. And we do follow a collective impact approach so that we all have a shared system that every department on the council understands. This is the work we're doing. This is our common agenda. We have a shared measurement system of how we're measuring wellness policy implementation in our schools that we're going to talk more about. And we're all working together across departments and community partners to have activities for our school sites. So nobody really likes hearing too much about the collective impact approach, but I do think that it's been very important to our work that we've met in this way. So what happens when you have I'd say a strong policy, and you have a strong leadership group, how do you then get the policy to be implemented in your schools? That was really the challenge that we faced when we started. And I really always lean on the WISC model, the whole school, whole community, whole child model, because this really is how we worked. We all came together, we coordinated the programs and policies, and made sure that we kept students at the center. Why are we doing this? It's for the students. How do we make sure our students are healthy and safe? And we worked with our community to make sure this happened. But what's been really key to our success has been our Healthy Schools program. And this is one of our school wellness champions. She is a school nurse. Her name is Juliette De La Paz. She has been a school wellness coordinator at her school site since 2016. And I think if you take anything away from our presentation today, I encourage you to have a school wellness coordinator at every school in your district to help lead the work. This has been absolutely instrumental and foundational to what we've done, and we couldn't have done it without folks like Juliette. We have worked from the beginning with Alliance for a Healthier Generation, and we have from the beginning followed this 6-step process. And I've asked Kat from Healthier Generation if she can explain this process to you all, because I think this has really helped to set us up for success.
Thank you. Before I get started, I want to say that, in the introduction it said I've been working all over the country, which is true, and nobody is doing this work like San Diego USD. I mean, they're absolutely crushing it, and it's due to the dedication of Kate, Andrea, the rest of the district team, and those wellness coordinators. And so, yeah, duly impressed all the time. I've been on board with them for about a year. Can you click for me or? No, thanks. That one. Okay. So the 6-step process starts with building support. As Kate mentioned, the district has a district-wide team, and then we have wellness coordinators at each of the school to coordinate the implementation of the wellness policy. So we do a lot of work in educating them on what the policy is. Kate actually uses a customized assessment, which we'll talk about in a second, to make sure that those policies are being implemented at the school level. But as you know, when we talk about system change, building support and building buy-in is absolutely necessary. And so Kate mentioning, making sure that you have wellness coordinators at every school is a step that cannot be skipped. It's the one that really deserves the most attention, and spending time creating an infrastructure to support that is extremely important. And then we have assess. So we have a customized assessment called the Thriving Schools Integrated Assessment. We have customized that for Kate. Kate decided that she wanted it to reflect not all of these 300 something best practices that we have in this assessment, but broke it down to have 47. I think we have 48 questions in the customized assessment, which makes it a little bit more manageable for the wellness coordinators to ensure that they know what those practices are, and that they're very clear, and that they're streamlined with what the expectations are within the district. So we have this assessment available. It's available to you. You can create a free account right now and go see what it's like, and go check it out and see how it might align with some of the work that you're doing. And then developing an action plan. So this is the 3rd step. So once schools have built support, have teams, they answer these questions on the assessment, they sit, they deliberate over it, they consult with their principals to make sure that they're answering these questions correctly. They look at where there's some areas of improvement. And then they choose goals based on this and create an action plan. And what we recognized this year in San Diego was that even though we had a great template for them to use for their action planning, that it was often difficult for them to really sit down and do this step by step. So what we did was we took a look at the data, and the data told us that these are the top 12 best practices that schools are not meeting or maybe just partially meeting. And we built out action plans for them. And so they are not generic. They are very specific to San Diego. So If it's a nutrition question, they are sometimes directed to the, farm to school leads or a specific program, school gardens, whatever it is, so that they're aware of this is where you can get support to fully meet the criteria for this particular best practice that you've chosen as a goal. And that's been extremely helpful for them. And then we have exploring resources. So part of this process is that not like, okay, here's the best practice and good luck, just go for it. So some of those resources are also included in those action plan guides on our platform, which is where the assessment is held. Every question has resources linked next to it so that when you're reading about the best practice, if you don't necessarily understand it, and perhaps it's something about, a trauma-informed approach, and you might not know about that as deeply as you'd like, there are some educational materials there, and also include other resources to help schools to implement those practices fully. And then taking action, of course, that's putting one foot in front of the other and actually getting the work done. And so throughout the school year, we provide lots of support, which Andre will share a little bit more about. But that's really important, right? Because as you know, teachers, which are typically the people that fill that role, we do have all kinds of people filling the role of the wellness coordinator. As we mentioned, school nurses are doing that as well. Sometimes guidance counselors, right? So everybody has their plate full, and time is the hottest commodity in a school building. And so we really want to make sure that they have all the support that they need to take action, to take, put one foot in front of the other and do the things they need to do to, put these actions in place. And sometimes these best practices are, easier than others. Some, we have turnkey resources for, and they can just get started right away and get implementation going, and perhaps it's a staff well-being gratitude practice, right? And everybody loves it, but some are more difficult, right? To really have a trauma-informed approach on school policies and practices, that is in depth, right? It takes a lot of training. It takes a few years to really achieve that fully. And so, we always say, go after the low-hanging fruit, get used to the process first, don't make it too complicated. When I work with districts and schools around the nation, we really just say, focus on one or two goals this year is really the best way to get started. And then we celebrate success. So we acknowledge any approximation to the goal. While we like to go through this 6-step process within a year's time, sometimes it doesn't work out like that. So, if a school is really having trouble building support, but they really want to have a team that's meaningful and is powerful, they might spend 6 months building that team and getting folks in the know. And that's okay, right? That can happen with the infrastructure that we've created here over the years. Well, I wasn't here, so I can only take a year's worth of credit. I've been Healthier Generation along with Kate and her team. It's been possible to really get folks through that cycle within a year's time, which is great. And we also have an award program. We have the America's Healthiest School campaign, which has also morphed a little bit over the years as we have taken a more deliberate whole child approach. We now are offering awards in each of those areas. And we do this work by creating benchmarks, right? So we want to make sure that they have deadlines and a set time where they can meet these goals. And so this is what the benchmarks look like. By November, we ask for them to form a team of 4 to 8 people or to join an existing team, right? Some people are not built to pull a team together. Maybe they're too introverted and they don't feel comfortable asking people. They don't want to be rejected. And so one of the options is that you can join a leadership team and bring health and wellness to the forefront for them to continue as part of their regular discussions. And then in January, we asked them to complete the customized SDUSD Thriving Schools Integrated Assessment in the Healthier Generation Action Center. And then in February, they identify priority areas of improvement and they set their measurable goals. and create that detailed wellness action plan. They may not choose one of those top 12 that we created the action guides for them, so they can still go ahead and choose a goal outside of that and use the template and create their own action plan. And then by February, March, we want to make sure that they've mapped district and community resources. We support them with that and schedule professional development and programming for their schools. And then February, May, we track improvements and barriers and receive support to adjust course as needed. All right, so we're constantly checking in with wellness coordinators. They're checking in with each other at our monthly huddles, we call them, and just to make sure that they're still able to continue to move forward. And then in May and June, let's say April in there too. April is when they would apply for the award. That's the deadline for the award. So we do ask them to do that, but it's optional. We don't want to put too much pressure on them. And then in May and June, we evaluate and reflect on progress and challenges and then share successes with the community. So there's an end of year report that is done through a Google form that they enter information and are able to reflect on their successes and challenges throughout the year. And it gives us a whole lot of data, which is really amazing for us to look at and reflect upon and decide how we're going to do things differently in the next year. And so in order to do this work, we have to build the capacity of our coordinators. So she's going to tell you about that.
So as Kat mentioned, we do a lot to help out those site wellness coordinators. They're busy, right? Everybody's busy. They have other jobs doing wellness. Sometimes they were voluntold, right? So we do whatever we can to make it as easy for them and as turnkey as possible. So some of those ways is certainly welcoming them, orientating them at the very beginning to let them know what's coming for the year. We do a full day Wellness Coordinator Institute, and we do have sponsors that cover a sub reimbursement so they can be away from their school site for the day. And we just kind of go over everything and help them get started and motivate them and inspire them so that they're ready to take on this new role for the rest of the year. Kat mentioned we do monthly huddles, and it's been an hour, but I think this year we're going to go to a half hour since we're doing the day-long institute, and that's just a check-in. See how you're doing, answer questions, give them the next steps, make sure they're on track with the plan that we've set with the benchmarks. And then, of course, we want to celebrate them. So at the end of the year, we have a champion celebration where we can really get together, celebrate what everyone's done for the year, share ideas, and get motivated for following years. And Kate alluded to, we finally got a little bit of funding this year, being able to provide a $400 stipend for each site. And this helps them to be accountable, also gives them a little bit of resources if they want to buy supplies for a calming room or if they want to reimburse some of their time that they've spent on the wellness at their site. So they can use it in a lot of different ways. We give them that flexibility. Oh, I have it. The control now. Yeah, can you do it for me? So we talked about the resources that we provide. This is another resource that we provide. It's a toolkit. Every month we provide them with this toolkit. And what we really wanted after getting feedback from the coordinators over many years doing surveys, we found out that they really wanted turnkey resources. So every month we put together this monthly toolkit. It has the same things in every month. So a bulletin board kit, it's a different theme. We give them all the tools so they can make a really nice bulletin board. So they have a designated wellness bulletin board at their site. We give them the supplies so they can update it every month. Scripts for AM announcements. So the students can do morning announcements on wellness. Wellness Wednesday, whatever's going on. It's just little tips, and it's already written for them. They just give it to the student, and then they're sharing wellness ideas with the whole school. A family wellness newsletter. Getting families involved is always a challenge, but it's always something that we want to do more of. So we've provided a QR code. They can put that QR code on their bulletin board, and then that links to a digital newsletter that they can share with their families. It has recipes, it has tips. Healthy celebrations is another one we're always trying to promote, right? And so that information's in the family newsletter, as well as providing that information for staff so they can share it with their families as well. And then we also have student wellness ambassador activities, always trying to get students involved, so we give them ideas for that. And then staff engagement resources. So every month has a staff meeting icebreaker, a brain break. So when they have their staff meetings, they have ideas for what to use for that, first minute opening up their meeting, or maybe halfway through, doing a breathing exercise or a stretch. So every month we're giving them those resources so they can just incorporate wellness into the culture at their site. So now I'll show you, this is a video. I think you have to press it again to get the, but this is a video that highlights our celebration, our champion celebration, and really kind of summarizes the resources that we provide. We have some interviews that you'll see that the coordinators refer to.
Are you able to play the video from your end? So today we're having our School Wellness Coordinators Champion Celebration. It's a chance for us to celebrate those school staff who have taken care of the health and wellness of their students and staff all year long.
The goal of the celebration is to fully celebrate the wellness coordinators. We call them wellness champions because they've done so many good things for students this year.
We bring this event to them because we want to make sure we're taking care of our school wellness coordinators as they take care of our students and staff.
Our goal for Health Corps is to go into these schools and go into the sites to positively influence the health and wellness journeys of students. And so we partnered with San Diego Unified School District to do just that.
We are our best selves when we're healthy and are mentally, physically well.
We really like to incorporate wellness activities because the idea is that they're coming to relax after a long year of working really hard for the youth of San Diego School District.
The school wellness coordinators are in charge of supporting students and staff and family wellness. So we make their job easier by giving them specific things that they can do with their students, with their staff, and with their families to spread the culture of wellness throughout the entire school community.
What I'm most proud of is how much we were able to incorporate into the school day, into the school culture, and how much participation we got from the staff and the students. So it was really cool this year.
So we've supported school wellness coordinators this year by creating monthly toolkits all the way from August, September, all the way up to June.
Part of that is taking what the district tells them we should be doing and then kind of moving that into our school and seeing what we can do to keep things moving in the positive direction.
Usually they are taking on another role, and this is just an added position to them. And so these toolkits just make it easier for them.
Sometimes I really get choked up because I can see the difference that they're making in their school communities.
So my role is basically to get people together, get some good ideas going, and then implement them quickly.
Don't hold back, don't be shy, get in there, dive in.
Everyone, on campus works really hard, and a lot of times they don't take those breaks that they need. So I think we're here to say, you know what, you need to have fun. You need to take care of yourself. So I think we're very important in that way.
Yeah, and there's lots of support, so don't be afraid to reach out for your support. They're there to help you.
The school wellness coordinators are amazing, passionate superheroes at their school, and their passionate and excitement for health and wellness is really what makes the school community a better place.
I can see in the photos that they are really doing the meaningful work that's going to have a lasting impression on students for their entire lives.
We get to work with them on health and wellness for students, staff, families, communities, and we work together throughout the year to positively influence the lives and the health of students at San Diego Unified School District.
It's so much better when you hear it from the people on the ground who are doing the work, right? It makes... Wow. Whoa, what was that? We're making a splash. Okay. Well, I just want to echo something that Crystal said earlier, that it has always been very, very important to me that our schools get to choose what they are working on. We provide a system and infrastructure and training and support, but they look at what their needs are, and they say, at our school, this is what we're going to focus on this year. This is our staff wellness goal. This is our student wellness goal. And that they have choice and voice in that is really important. And what we do is that after they have made those decisions at the site level, and we ask them at the end of the year to tell us, okay, you had some goals. How did it go? Did it work? What didn't work? That's as important as what did work. And we learn from one another. They share with each other in those monthly huddles on Zoom so much. I mean, them hearing from one another, school wellness coordinator to school wellness coordinator, is as important as anything that we share with them. But we take all of those, and we take all of that information that they share with us, that data, and we bring it back to our leadership council. And we say, okay, this year, this is what schools chose to work on. This is where we see that there's still room to improve. As a district wellness council, how can we help them get there? Community partners. It looks like farm to school is an area where we need to grow. What can we provide them? What solutions, what supports? And we kind of make sure that that's our continuous improvement process. So those are some of the members of the District Wellness Council there, and very important to this process. And then we all know you have to, and I think that some of the other school districts that spoke earlier did such a good job about talking about the outcomes. What we're talking about today is the system. What does the system look like? How does the system run? But what leadership wants to hear are what are the outcomes? So we do, at the end of every year, a presentation to the council on everything that our school wellness coordinators have done with their committees. We also present to our school board, and that provides the public update that's part of the triennial assessment and federal requirements. And we also have just completed our second triennial assessment, which is very exciting. So this is us with some of the council members with some of our school board leaders at a board meeting. And so it's because of this system that I'm really proud. It's the work of every school wellness coordinator, every student wellness ambassador, every council member, that we have been recognized at the local, state, and national level as a model for local wellness policy implementation. And I'm really, really proud of that. And some of the ways that we have benchmarked, we'll talk more about some of these on Thursday, but we have received, excuse me, the American Heart Association gold level recognition for more than 5 years. And we've also had many of our schools this year we have increased substantially from the 2022 award winners, the America's Healthiest School Award. And that's really been a motivator. So I just wanted Kat to share a little about that.
We're super exciting. In 2022, San Diego USD had 18 schools recognized, and in 2023, they jumped to 32 schools recognized. And also, you can apply for up to 9, so there was a total of 88 unique awards provided for these 32 schools. So they go through a process where they have to apply, they have to provide evidence, they have to upload that evidence and also give some other information. And then we have a big campaign in September where we announce it nationally, and we also help the local communities to do some promotion of those. And it was really absolutely amazing to see so many schools get recognized this year for their hard work, and really much, much deserved. So I'm excited about that. Next year, 75.
All right, so while I'm doing this, let's do a brain break. So I'm going to tell you about our key partners, so shake your right hand. Kaiser Permanente, their Thriving Schools program, they have been instrumental in helping us. They provide the funding that allows for Healthier Generation to work with us. Let's shake your left hand. Healthier Generation, they help us with the 6-step process. So they're really, let's just do a quick circle. They're helping us with the 6-step process, and we do that every year. We do that every year. Let's do the other arm too. And then Let's do Health Corps. So Health Corps is our newest partner. They're the ones that have been helping us with those toolkits. Do those toolkits look nice? They can help your school district do those too, because I've already trained them on what we need. So you can use it. So let's celebrate that. Yes. Let's learn from one another. And then let's just do this. All of the ones at the bottom here: Dairy Council, American Heart Association, our health insurance broker, California Schools Viva. How about Up and Up, Out and Up, Kaiser, United Healthcare, and the County Health and Human Service Agency. How's everybody feeling? A little bit better? Yeah. Partners matter. Brain breaks matter. So make sure you incorporate those into your meetings too.
So to summarize a little bit, we just wanted to highlight, we've learned a lot, obviously, through this process. We've adapted a lot during this process as we've learned what works and what doesn't. Staff are burnt out, right? We've talked about that a lot. So focusing on fostering well-being has been a huge focus. My passion is employee wellness, so we've spent a lot of time focusing on those folks working on wellness, and then the other folks not working on wellness but need wellness, right? We talked about the funding and how we were able to get a little bit of funding to provide to our schools to reward them for what they're doing and to help them implement wellness. And then acknowledging that we're not working with public health professionals, so we're giving them the tools. We're giving them everything that they need to make it as easy as possible. So those are some big learnings that we got from the challenges.
So what's next for us? Year 9 coming up. We are really trying to listen. I know that some of you agreed staff burnout is real. Thank you. And we really want to hear from our school wellness coordinators. All right, we've been doing this for a few years. What's working? What's not working? How can we change this to make it better? We recently conducted listening sessions with some of our school wellness coordinator champions. We invited some of our national and state partners to come and hear directly from the school wellness coordinators what they thought could be different and new. What's next for us? Trying to really bridge to a new superintendent who has different priorities, who does care about our students and staff, but has different areas of focus, maybe not so much wellness, but he's really thinking about belonging, equity, thriving. So how do we align what we're doing to his work? We also have a new employee wellness survey. We've never surveyed the staff on well-being. We're going to, have you guys heard of Gallup? So like Strength Finders, the Gallup polls. We're partnering with Gallup. We used ESSER funds for that. And we're going to survey 15,000 employees and see what they say and what we want to do differently. So we're excited to see what comes from that. And we're really increasing our focus on social emotional well-being. And lastly, our students. So I wanted to end with our students. Our students at every school, we asked the school wellness coordinator, can you find some student leaders to help champion health and wellness? They're the student wellness ambassadors. Increasingly, they are leading this work at their school sites. So they're helping to implement those wellness action plans that Kat talked about. We have given sashes to our school wellness coordinator, our student wellness ambassadors. And we've also started working with Health Corps to launch Teens Make Health Happen clubs, where groups of teens are meeting on a weekly basis to really help drive and promote this work. So Health Corps is a great partner to us. I just want to acknowledge that they're not here with us today, but very much a part of our team. And they're going to be the ones that make the meaningful change.
If you're just getting started. So I just wanted to share that obviously this work sounds very complex. There's a lot of moving parts, but essentially the 6-step process, the Thriving Schools Integrated Assessment, these are things that live on the Alliance for a Healthier Generation dashboard. Every school has its own dashboard. It is free to use. All you need to do is to create an account and go to your dashboard and become a team member, and then you can begin answering questions for the district, right? So we have a separate district assessment and a school assessment, and you can utilize those if you want to start to gain a better understanding of what's happening at the school level with policy implementation and practices. And if you don't want to do that and you want to just get excited about maybe we'll apply for some awards, well, maybe you're eligible. So that's where we'd like to meet you. So we're willing to meet you wherever you are and get you started. And we've started at any part in that process. And then hopefully at some point we catch up and we can do it more systematically. But no harm in getting started. Everything's free. There's no commitment except for what you're willing to make. So, and you can certainly learn from the pros here because they've really done it right.
In your career, you hope that you might have a chance to help change someone's life. I really am grateful for this opportunity today to share what we've done with all of you. I hope maybe you took one thing away from what we're doing. I'm really grateful to the Santa Barbara County Wellness Coalition for bringing us here. It's an honor to be a part of this work, and you all have put together such a beautiful event. And these are the things that we think have really helped us. If any of that helps you, please take it with you. Please know I'm just an email away. If you ever want to chat, Heather and I are in San Diego and doing similar work, and I'm really excited to hear from her next about what she's doing, but we share ideas all the time. So let's keep learning from one another. Let's keep putting students at the center, and let's create change together. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry.
I want to go back to my school district tomorrow, not a school district, but in theory, and I want to not voluntold wellness coordinators at each school site. Can you just expand a little bit more how that selection goes? You put out a survey to invite people to participate. How does that look? You guys
Thank you. I give, that memo that I shared, when I had the picture of Cindy Martin up there, there was a memo from the superintendent to principals the first year I was there, where she told all of the principals, our board values wellness. And in order to do this work, we need your help and we need someone at your school to be involved. So could you please designate a staff member? It must be a staff member. There's a lot of questions. Can it be a parent? We always ask that it be a staff member. Over the years, I've refined what it looks like for the school wellness coordinator. They need to be someone who's at that school at least 3 days a week. The first year, we had some poor nurses. They were only at the school 1 day a week, and they were asked to do this work. That's too much. So they need to be at the school at least 3 days a week, and I ask that they express a personal willingness to do the work. We do still have some people being voluntold, but this year, a lot less. A lot less. Every year and we provide now the stipend, which I think is huge. We give them $400. That school wellness coordinator can choose to either use that $400 for some of their time spent on wellness and their wellness activities, because we know, attending the monthly huddles with us and leading a committee, it is work. Or they can use it to support supplies to support their wellness action plan. Guess which one they pick? I can't tell you guys, it was about 70% of them. And this is educators. I mean, my gosh, like that they have a choice to give themselves some money or to give it to their students. And it really has been. So I'm really fighting now that we can give us a stipend that they get to keep it no matter what. And then we can also hopefully, and we're trying to work with some of our partners to do that, have some funding. So I hope I've answered that. The time, a lot of them ask me about the amount of time. The huddle will now this year be 30 minutes instead of an hour. That was feedback. We listened to coordinators. And then the rest of it is sort of up to them. We ask that their wellness committee meet at least 4 times a year to just get through that 6-step process, assess, look at where your areas of improvement are, and create a plan that you implement. So that's hopefully helpful.
No, thanks for sharing. I know we do have a lot of districts in the county that are working towards that way. Goleta, they're doing great things over there. They have participation from different school sites. Yeah. But I know that's the kind of the willingness of more districts, because like we've been saying, it's a lot of work, and so we need a lot of hands on deck.
Well, I think there's different models of approach. Of course,
money talks, right? So
That's
if
why
you
I
have
wanted to
some
expand
funding,
on that.
that's a
Yeah.
great way to do it.
Yeah.
The way that I do the work with some other districts is, we just start with a smaller cohort. That way we can, give them more attention. It's just a group of volunteers, right? They haven't been voluntold. They're interested. We do it via a survey, and then, just sort of being able to say, this is what the expectations are throughout the whole year. We're going to step up the work. We're going to provide you with the support that you need. Ultimately, we just want you to meet like a goal or two starting off this year. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that you could do it, but obviously, it took how many years to get that many coordinators on board and really understanding the work. So, starting off strong is really important. Sometimes it's just a small group.
And Kate, I thank you in advance for sharing out what your wellness coordinator looks like. I'll bug you for it. Maybe you'll share your document, and then I can share it out with everybody here. So
Great.
if you're looking to implement those coordinators at the school site, we can glean from some of yours.
Happy to help.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Wow, well, thank you all. That was a fantastic overview of what is happening in San Diego and what really can be possible. I really like that we started again with that why. Why are we here today? Why do we do this work? And centering back on students really keeps us grounded in what we will create back in our districts. The answer really is that wellness can be at all levels. The keys to success are clearly collaboration, supportive leadership, a multifaceted approach, an involved team of stakeholders, systems, consistency, and partnerships. We've heard this recurring theme all day. You're building capacity of your coordinators by training, providing resources, providing that stipend for compensation, and celebrating the work. What great tips for us to take back. Thank you again for joining us in this conversation. And I really encourage everyone to connect with this incredible trio that's traveled from San Diego at the networking session at the end of today and over the next 2 days as well. Let's give another round of applause for our presenters.